maybe you have to make a decision on Ned Yost before Ned wanted to make a decision, have a decision made on his future or take it out of his hands. But at least the sweep of the Indians this weekend and the way they won these games, a walk-off on Sunday, a shutout on Saturday, the Alex Gordon hitting a home run for, a kind of charity case on Friday. It was a really feel-good weekend for the Royals, who desperately needed to feel good about baseball after losing 10 straight. I saw a tweet, I guess, or something on social media about teams that have 10-game losing streaks and what the average final record for those teams are during the year, and it's not good. I mean, it's not. I think they end up winning in the 60s or something, and maybe this Royals team will still end up like I thought it would, somewhere between the low to mid 70s in terms of victory total and feel good. But what I do believe that the way to judge this Royals team is not going to end up being by where it finishes in the division or even wins and losses, but the development of what they have with Keller, with Mondesi, with Soler, with some of the pieces that they believe will be centerpiece-type players when they are competitive again. So far, with those players, Soler hit the solo home run yesterday. Keller's been really, really good, and Mondesi is a difference-making player. Anyway, on
and
that,
Dozier had a good homestand after
yes,
a terrible start.
Yes, and that's important too. And so on that level, in this measurement, it's not a disaster for the Royals so far. I don't expect them to win the division, be in the playoffs, but I want to see the players who I think will be part of the next run for the Royals not fail, and so far they're not failing. The shame of all this is the division is ripe to be taken by a team that's competent, and the Royals are competent. I don't mean to use that word, but if you lucked into an 85 win, yes, relevant. If you lucked into an 85 win season like the Twins did a couple years ago to be the wild card team,
you'd be at least in it.
You'd be in it. You'd have a playoff team, and I know that that's not the bigger picture for the Royals to luck into a playoff one year, but for a organization that is starved for postseason, even with the 2 years of 14 and 15, that's 2 out of 35 now or whatever it is. Luck into one once in a while. Everybody else seems to luck into one once in a while. Why can't the Royals?
Right, exactly. We'll talk about a variety of things still to come right here on the Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. The final Danny and Blair Sports Wrap for the weekend right here on DannyKlingscale.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for Reasonably Irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews, and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code Klingscale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. I've been Doobed, and you should be next. Yes, Doob, D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. I just had one done of me. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations at their store on 119th Street in La Paloma Plaza near the Cheesecake Factory. Doob, be next. Back with Blair Kerkhoff here on a Monday, and Blair, your final word on Sunday Sound Off on NBC, local NBC affiliate last night was about Sporting Kansas City. It's a very interesting time for Sporting KC because they just get absolutely cremated by, that's a terrible choice of word, but it's accurate, by Monterey, making a lot, you just have to get past it because it's a difficult analysis. Can you still drum up the enthusiasm? Can you still be fired up about MLS when you know face up, you're just second tier in many ways?
That's the big picture question for me when it comes to Sporting. I don't think anybody who understands soccer, and most everybody understands it and not appreciates, but understands it better than me. But even I knew that there are, a handful to several professional leagues in other parts of the world that are better than the MLS, right? But that doesn't matter to me.
Right.
It doesn't, because this is the league that I have, that I follow, and I've got a team here in my town, which includes local players, which I think is really cool. And it doesn't matter to me that MLS is not EPL or
right. Bundesliga. Right.
Exactly. It doesn't matter to me. But it seemed to matter to them a lot, to move up in the ranks of international leagues. And the opportunities like that don't always present themselves. When one did this year, it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. I watched that game. I was actually in Minneapolis at the Final Four, and it was on Wednesday night, and my first night up there, and I called the game up on my laptop streaming. So I'm laying in bed watching it, and after the second goal, I thought, "Oh, come on, they lose 2-1, it'll be okay." The third goal comes in. I think it was right before, maybe early in the second half, and I just flipped the computer off because even I could tell there was just a difference in the level of play, and ended up being 5-0. And what a bad result that was
right.
for Sporting. Made the second game. I don't know what you even think about going into it, but it was nice to get a couple goals.
And they tried.
They did. They put forth a great effort, and so now my thinking changes too. I hope it doesn't. I hope there's not a short-term problem for Sporting. And they get a tie against the Red Bulls on Sunday night, and a late goal to do it from their phenom,
right?
The 16-year-old who scored for the third time in 3 MLS games. So listen. It doesn't make me any more or less of a follower of Sporting. I really do love that we have that team in this town.
Absolutely.
And they are in so many ways an example of how a professional sports operation should work in terms of fan engagement and building from using local talent, that sort of thing. But they haven't had too many down moments, and I thought this was a down moment for
Agreed.
them.
Yeah, agreed. And you just want to get to the enthusiasm of the point is, in world soccer, it's not like American sports. The structure of it is there's big boys, even in each individual league. In the Premier League, the top 6 is referred to all the time, and if anybody cracks it, that's like a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're not going to win. I mean, Leicester did a couple of years ago. That was like a miracle story in the history of sports.
Yeah, that was a century story.
Same thing in all the other leagues. There's 2 or 3 teams in Spain that consistently dominate. That's what's expected. So having your own league where you are competitive and it's different, that's a great thing, and the fans were back and engaged last night. So I think they will get past it. It just would have been so great if they lost 5-2 on aggregate against Monterey.
Yes, yeah, right. That's right. If that first game was just such a downer, or maybe if the series had started in Kansas City,
right,
you'd have had a competitive game and then take your lumps down in Monterey. But boy, that first one, and look, they had gotten this. we're talking about the 10-2 aggregate. The fact that Sporting got as far as it did in the CONCACAF,
right, as far as anybody's gotten
from the MLS, so that in itself is worth acknowledging and celebrating for soccer fans. That is great, but again, when is this opportunity going to come around again? Not just for MLS, but for our team,
right?
Our team.
All right, we're going to have to probably do this in bullet point fashion because what we have is a college basketball season concluding for all, and now spring football going on for our 3 area teams. So we've got 6 teams to deal with here, so we can't go into depth in each one. We can't go Stan Weber on each one. My great friend.
I love Stan
My
Weber.
great friend.
Love listening to
Absolutely, absolutely. Breaks things down like no other. Let's start with the basketball. Season ends. A really great NCAA tournament, a not-so-great NCAA tournament for the local teams. Now Kansas being stripped bare, basically, of their players. We don't think Devon Dotson's going to go to the NBA, but he's declared, and if he hears the right thing, you don't know what goes through these young players' minds. Do they really even want to be in college? I don't know Devon Dotson well enough to know whether he really likes – I think everybody, basketball players like being in college. The girls like him. You're the big man.
Right.
But do they really want to go to class and put up with all that? And will just even being told, hey, you might get drafted, borderline drafted, and then or you're a free agent, you might make some money. Maybe that's enough. So we don't know. But that's the challenge of big-time, top-of-the-heap college basketball now for Bill Self and Kansas, restructuring each year. And on top of it, it comes in an environment where they do seem to have been dinged by the FBI investigation and recruiting. The 3 players that they've recruited already are sort of in the 100 to 150 area. Not like Kansas has not had success with players like that, like Devontae Graham, Frank Mason. But for years now, they've gotten top 10 talent. So these things all combined create a really kind of curious and interesting mix for Kansas.
I think an uncertainty after a season, unlike we've seen from Kansas over the years, Bill Self coached teams. I think as you look at Kansas going forward, that Devon Dotson's decision is critical to how you're going to think about KU next year. Because I was looking at this the other day. The known qualities returning for Kansas are David McCormick, Obaji, Marcus Garrett, and Mitch Lightfoot. Now, those are fine players. You can build a team and a nice team, maybe an NCAA tournament team around those guys. But Devon Dotson needs to be part of that group for you to feel like
they're going to be Kansas.
Yes, that's right. And then you've got to put some pieces around them
right.
from the recruiting trail. Look, Kansas has had years after they won the national championship in 2008. That whole team, the whole starting 5 was gone, either through graduation or the NBA draft. But they had Cole Aldridge and Sharon Collins coming off the bench.
Right.
They had a pretty good
yes.
team to build around. And the Morris twins were part of the recruiting class that year. So this looks like a time when there's just great uncertainty for KU basketball going forward, which makes them kind of common. This is kind of how the other half lives in college basketball. And now Bill Self has done some of his great recruiting work in the spring,
summer, yes.
in the spring and the summer, right?
Yes, he has.
Andrew Wiggins was a late signee. Josh Jackson a late signee.
They've had guys who started school late.
Yes, that's exactly right. So we'll see. I certainly wouldn't discount anything from Bill Self. But it is like I said, a time unlike many other times in Kansas basketball.
Kansas State, let's talk them next. They lose a lot, but they also have some very intriguing players coming back who, if they take that next step, per se, and right at this moment in time, they have more highly rated recruits than Kansas does.
It does.
So this is a different, now you don't expect them to ladle on the summer stuff that Bill Self usually gets, but an interesting time of transition for them too. You could sit here and make a case that it's going to be a rebuild year, or you can make a case that they'll just kind of continue the process.
Yep, you can, with Cartier Jada and Marco Mayween coming back and McGurl, Stocker. There's some pieces there, guys that contribute. And Xavier Sneed.
Right.
I forgot. How do you forget Xavier? No, that's as I'm thinking about what Kansas has returning and what Kansas State has returning, I'm not sure. I don't think K-State's got a little bit better position there. So